Please come closer.
How close?
Come close. Less than 2 metres, please. Less than 2 metres. I love you, Nigel.
Hi everyone, I'm Dave. Just an ordinary guy from Basildon, yeah? But even I can see that this is a hoax, yeah? We're not in the middle of a pandemic. We are at war with our government. Yeah, the government is creating fear in order to push an agenda. The agenda of a small psychopathic elite. And that elite have one agenda, and that is depopulation. At the bottom of this whole thing is depopulation. They've said this time and time and time again. And all the players in this eugenicist depopulation agenda are all on show right now. It's all about the Rockefellers, it's all about the Gates family. Yeah?
Just put it down, talk.
Okay. Can you hear me if I just shout?
Yeah!
I'll give this a go then. So it's all about depopulation, and this COVID-19 is just one small step towards their goal. The next step is the vaccine, and they want to keep the fear going so that we get ready to accept this vaccine. The government are being advised by a group called SAGE, and part of that SAGE group is a smaller group called SPY-B, who are psychologists, and they're advising the government on how best to manipulate us with fear. They actually released a document that said people do not feel personally threatened enough. So, okay, new battery. New batteries, hey. So they're saying that we don't feel personally threatened enough. So it advised the government to ramp up the fear. And that is what those masks are for. They're not for any kind of virus. I think it was Vernon Coleman who said that the gaps between the mask and the size of a virus is like a mouse going through Marble Arch. They're not doing anything to halt the spread of a disease. In fact, the government said in April, do not wear masks because they do nothing to stop the spread of a disease. In fact, they might even be harmful to you. And now here we are. We've got to wear masks. Yeah? I went in the shopping centre. Do you want to wear a mask, sir? No, thank you. You know? And that's all you have to say, really. No, thank you. I'm exempt. Because we're all exempt. We all like breathing oxygen, don't we? You know? Yay. So you're exempt. So it's really just to keep the fear going, the level of fear going, because there's nothing else to make people afraid. The deaths are now negligible, even if you believe their numbers, which you shouldn't. Yeah? So if you believe their numbers, 450,000 people have died of this COVID-19, if you believe their numbers. But every year, 650,000 people die of the flu. So where's the pandemic? So this is why you might have noticed a switch from the number of deaths to now cases. So what's a case? A case is a positive test for coronavirus. Well, look at the test. The test has a 80, well, somebody just told me, it's a 90%, oh, hang on, let's get 94. News just in, it's a 94% false positive rate. So, in order to create a new outbreak, they just have to test more. And they're going to find more. There's an outbreak. Even if nobody's sick, even if nobody has any symptoms, right? They've got now positive cases, right? The reason we're out here is to show people that they can say no. They can say no to this. Because at the moment, the government makes a proclamation and everybody says, yes, sir. How many bags full, sir? Yeah? We've got to stop that. The government is not our master. It's our servant. You wouldn't have a butler who tells you, go make me breakfast. They're our servants. They do for us. But they've not been doing much for us lately, have they? No, they've been telling us or bullying us to do things. Every 5 minutes, a fat politician gets on the camera and says, you've got to lock down now. You've got to go home at 10 o'clock or whatever he wants to say. It's bullshit. So I'm losing my voice here now. So we have to learn to say no. And part of the reason we're here is to do something here called the bystander effect. Now, if you don't know what the bystander effect is, if somebody fell over here and started bleeding on the street, most people will walk past that person, right? Ignore them, pretend they're not there, until one person goes to help. And then that seems to give permission for everybody to go and help. Right now, people are just following orders from the government, and we are the ones who are there to say, let's not do this. And hopefully other people will now have permission not to comply. This is why we're here. This is a psychological war we're in. And they're using psychology against us. They know that we, as pack animals, as sociable animals, we defer to authority. Thank you. We defer to authority. So if an authority figure gives us a command, 9 out of 10 people will follow that command. So it's just like if you take some clothes back to a shop without the receipt, the first thing will happen is a bod on the front desk will say, no, you can't do that. 9 out of 10 people are just going to turn around and say, okay, I'll go home. But that one person who stands there and says, get the manager out here. The manager's going to say, okay, I'm going to do it just this once. The point is, he has to do it. It's the law. But it's good business sense to put the bod on the front desk to lie to you, because 9 out of 10 people are going to accept that lie. This is what's going on. The government are making proclamations and saying things are mandatory, but they're not. They depend on you just going along with it. Mandatory isn't law, that's right. And here's another clue. They can't make anything mandatory. At some point, you are going to have to voluntarily accept whatever it is they're pushing on you. Okay?
Got it switched on?
Yeah, well, this is the best we can do. It's dead. Yeah, sorry. No battery. So yes, nothing is mandatory. Okay? There's something in this world, this universe, whatever you put out there comes back at you sevenfold. So they won't push anything on you. They have to make you accept it. That's why there's predictive programming on television. That's the offer. If you don't stand up against that, then they take your silence as consent. Right? And this is what they're doing. So when they make a proclamation on TV that they're going to lock down or whatever, that's an offer. They're waiting for you to stand up against it. And if you don't, then they're taking that as you saying, yes, we want this. So don't go along with it. Alright? This is the worst thing that humanity has had to face in forever. Right? They're actually trying to change what being human means. Right? And it's not aimed at any of you here, it's aimed at the children. The children are the ones who are going to suffer most. Right now they're going back to schools that are saying that all children have got to stay apart, can't talk to each other, can't interact with each other. We're going to breed a new set of adults who do not know how to relate to each other. And that's how they get us, divide and conquer. Right? So we've got to learn to say no. 1,000 years ago, or 100 or 400 years ago, we would have to stand up with swords and fight the enemy. Right? But we've been softened. We've been softened over the last few hundred years to not want to put ourselves at risk. This is the time to put ourselves at risk. It doesn't matter if you get arrested. It doesn't matter if you get jailed or fined. This is serious. Your own personal safety doesn't matter, because this is the fate of humanity that's on the line. Okay, and if we do nothing, if we let this go, we don't draw a line in the sand here, right, the consequences will be beyond imagination. Seriously. That's all I want to say. Thank you, Rob.